All right. Hello, everyone. I am Catherine Barnes, and today I am really excited because I am joined by Mr. BJ Robinson, who has a show that is coming to San Diego Fringe called The Panda Musical Diaries. And I am very excited about this show for two reasons. First of all, it's a musical and it's loaded with parodies, and I love parodies. And second of all, BJ Robinson is a San Diegan, and I get really excited about local shows. So, BJ, tell us all about your show.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. So excited to be here. Grateful to get to talk about the Panda Musical Diaries. So the way I kind of try to describe it in short, Panda Musical Diaries recounts 2020 pandemic life for a queer arts educator, me. Um, I spent a lot of time, like many people, digesting a lot of news and trying to just follow the headlines for what is going on. And like many people, I felt a lot of ways about it. um, Kind of my own way of managing just my feelings and my experiences. It started with journaling for a long time, and then at some point that turned into writing just random parodies to just deal with stuff. I ended up writing about 3 dozen parodies between March and June of 2020. And so a little more than 2 dozen of those are now compiled into this narrative that kind of just reflects on how I responded to a lot of media and how just the pandemic impacted me in my own little space in this universe. And I'm just hoping that it will also translate to other people, that there'll be experiences that are relatable, and that maybe it can also serve as a little bit of music therapy for other people the way it served for me.
Very cool. I love it. So, as you were doing this writing, starting in March, and it sounds like March through June was your window, right?
hmm
Did you know that you were going to turn this into a show, or was it just something you were kind of doing to cope?
I was doing it to cope. I've been writing parody as a coping mechanism um, for over a decade for myself. I can't even remember like when it all started, but this thing I used to do when I was in high school and college, and still did a bit in my adult life. Every Wednesday I would kind of honor Hump Day of like, all right, halfway through the week, and we got to celebrate that by sort of doing this parody Mad Lib kind of mashup where I would just take a song and put the word hump throughout it, and then like send it out to a bunch of people. Some friends would even record some of them. It'd be like the song Gershwin's Summertime, but instead of that, it would just be like Hump Day time and the living is humpy. Just because it'd be fun. So I've done a lot of parody for the sake of coping, and it was all for the sake of coping when it was in 2020. I didn't actually ever think, hey, maybe this will be a show. But here we are.
That's awesome. And so, at what point did you say, hmm, I should take these songs and do San Diego Fringe? Like, how did that come about?
So, I worked with a couple of friends on a small project in December at Coronado Playhouse, or here in San Diego
Ooh,
area.
I think I might know what this project is. Keep talking.
Well, it was an awesome time. It was a show that was a part of Fringe at one point, and had evolved itself into being an on the road kind of cabaret. And so I worked with a couple of fellow Fringers in that show, and it kind of reignited my interest in Fringe. I've been a part of the Fringe Festival in, I think it was 2017 and
Okay.
2018, and I loved it when I did participate. And so when I heard my friends talking about Fringe again as we were doing that project, it kind of dawned on me of why can't I apply for this? And so I started spending a little time in January and February thinking about, does this work? Can this translate? And trying to figure out like, what do I do with what's almost like an hour and a half worth of parodies, and try and like cut that down. Um, and when I came up with something that seemed sensible to me, I sent it in with an application and thought, well, we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Was that one man bond?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was. It
I
was.
thought so.
It was
I
the
thought
Bond
that might
show.
be you. I thought that might have been you. I was like,
Yes.
Okay.
Shout outs to Tom and Charlene, who I worked with on that project. Both of them are fellow Fringers, and they're both awesome, amazing people.
Yeah, they were definitely really great. And it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. I liked how he put the music in, and I liked you and Charlene were just hilarious. So that was really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did you do in 2018? Because I was in Fringe in 2018 too.
Um, 28, and now I'm really hoping getting my years right. I think it was 2018. The Yellow Hell of Vincent Van Gogh with Great White Bear Productions. I could be off by a year, and that might have been 2017.
Okay.
But it was Kent Brisby was my director in Ginger Lily Row, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was an amazing two-person show about Vincent van Gogh and Gauguin and their time when they were sharing a place in south of France
Oh, cool.
together. It was super super fun. And it was something completely out of my comfort zone on for a lot of reasons. The one thing that was neat about it is that there was a musical element, and it involved singing and playing piano. And I was like, oh, I can do that. We'll just see if I can handle the rest of it. But it was an absolute blast, and I've been wanting to get back to Fringe since that one.
Awesome. Very cool. So now what I need to know is because I saw you on stage playing that piano with One Man Bond, is it going to be you and a piano and the audience? Is that how this is going to work?
No, um, I put a lot of thought and planning into it, and ultimately, I will not have the piano on stage with me. Um, this is definitely more of a just moving kind of musical. In some ways, I think of it a little bit not it's not as good as this, I'll say, but it's a little bit like Come From Away. If you've seen Come From Away, where the songs finish and they go right into the scene, and
Mm.
there isn't like much room for applause. There's not much air between things, and it kind of keeps itself moving. And so this is mostly tracked, about 90% tracked. There's one piece where I start a cappella, I come in with the drums a little bit, and then a track plays that has some piano, and so I keep singing and drumming with the track. So there's like a little bit of meshing it up. But the rest of it, it's recorded music because it's extremely stylized. There's all of these visuals that go with it. It's really a big production as opposed to when I did this in my coping way. It was mostly watching the TV, sipping coffee or a monster, and kind of just having this musical word vomit, as I describe it, where I would just start singing at the screen. And then I'd get over to the laptop and write some of it down, pick up the phone, record it really quick, and post it on TikTok or YouTube. And so there'll be some throwback moments where you can see some of the OG TikTok videos and YouTube videos as well, mixed in with the media.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So this is a one-man show and it's a one-man musical and it sounds like it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, which I never I never foresaw all of this happening with it, even in January when it was like, well, let me put it together. I think I was originally thinking that, I might have a chair I sit in and I might have the keyboard on the one side and I might just like change a jacket or something, and that it was going to be a little bit more almost like intimate cabaret.
Mhm.
But it is not that at all anymore.
Yeah, fringe shows have a way of doing that. I feel like they morph.
They do, but it's exciting, and I've had to remind myself that as terrifying as it feels of just, what am I doing? Do I have it all figured out? Is anyone even going to show up to this? Is anyone going to like it? That I mean, that's all a part of the great art of theater. But double A, that's even more part of the excitement of the opportunities you get with Fringe because you get to bring things that may be a bit different, that may not be as polished and complete as if something had, $1 million budget. But all of that nuance is what I think makes it even more exciting and more special. So I'm
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like right on that cusp of exciting and scared, and it's slowly becoming more excited than scared. So.
Okay. Well, that is definitely good to hear. Now, I don't want to like force you into any spoilers, but I can't help but wonder, can you give us any idea of like some of the songs you might be parodying in your show?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one of the easy things I can say is like, if anyone really wants to know the content, just look up Enneama social media, because all of the videos and playlists are out there. So like all the spoilers are abound. It is mostly parodies of songs from Hamilton. And that's largely because the Hamilton soundtrack was one of the last things I was teaching with my different music classes,
Mm.
February and March of 2020. So the whole thing was still super fresh in my mind. And then when Disney Plus announced that it was going to be streaming, it just even more so. So there's a lot of Hamilton parody. And then there are a few gems from Stephen Sondheim that are throughout there because I'm also a huge Sondheim fan. And I'm really, really excited about those pieces. And then there's a couple of, well, there's one, I think just one. There's one moment of original music. No, there's two moments of original music by yours truly. And I'm not even going to say where they are because part of my goal and hope is that people won't even realize that was original music because it's all parody and no one will know. But I'm excited about that. That if you like your Hamilton tunes, come to this. If you like Sondheim, come to this. If you just want to hear things that are a bit different and wacky, come to this. It's a laugh out loud, possibly cry out loud show as well. And I'm even going to invite people to hum along, sing along, clap a bit if they're feeling it, because that just helps me to know I'm not alone in this.
Right. Yes, that audience participation that we've all been missing as we did our various projects on Zoom throughout the pandemic.
Yep, I need it.
Most definitely. And then, so you mentioned social media. Where can people find you on social media if they want to get pumped for the show?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you search Will BJ Rob, which is like the compilation of my name, WILLBJROB. And if you search that on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Twitter, even, all of those are my handles. And so those will take you to my different pages where, yeah, you can see a lot of the different videos. You can see other parodies, other songs that did not make the show, as well as just kind of keeping track of the way I'm promoting it, and I'll keep advertising things. I've got lots of like silly little things that are going to get dropped because there's so much media in it. I've been starting to say there's going to be some celebrity guest cameos that will be people on screen and audio heard. So they're kind of there in spirit, as there as much as anyone else was through Zoom, right?
Oh
but
my
I'll
gosh.
be dropping some of those hints.
So there's going to be a screen in the production as well. You got projections going on.
Hmm.
Oh my God, BJ Robinson.
There's a
Wow.
lot happening.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm very impressed. My show has projections, but I was just like, do I want to get a screen? Do I want to get a projector? No, I'm not going to go there. So I love it that you're really going all out.
I thought, why not? I want to just go all in, go fringe or go home, right?
And you mentioned that you're a teacher. I know I was looking at your Facebook and I'm like, wow, this guy does all the things. So like tell us some of the other things that you do outside of Fringe.
Sure. Yeah, primarily I'm an arts educator with my own voice studio, and I also do freelance education. Right now, I've been working with Mainstay Academics for the last couple of years, and they're a great online kind of private education program to really just meet students' needs individually. I am a church choir director at Christ United Presbyterian Church in South Park, San Diego. Been doing that since December 2020, and it's the best. I'm a freelance musician. I partner with different organizations and companies. I did a lot of stuff during the past couple of years with the Old Globe as they were translating programs to their web podcast and to being on the radio for Grinch and Hamlet. I host a community discussion platform called Tough Talk that started up in about June of 2020. And it's just a public forum that allows people to come together and work on getting comfortable with the uncomfortable,
Oh,
which can
wow.
be many different aspects
Mhm.
of life. Yeah, that one gets pretty all over the place. It gets complicated, it gets tough, and that's okay. It's a lot of fun. I also host a TV show for KPBS called KPBS Arts, which airs Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. on KPBS, and we focus on arts and culture across San Diego and across the nation. New episodes starting June 18th at 4:30 p.m. on KPBS.
Nice. So that's like
I'm glad about
after Fringe. So you're gonna be like Fringe, 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 Fringe. And you're gonna be like KPBS.
KPBS. Yeah, and Juneteenth at Christ United, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, I'm tired just listening to it, but that's
That's
pretty
fair.
awesome, I have to say.
It's a lot of fun.
So, I know you haven't done your Fringe show yet. You have done Fringe in the past. If someone's watching this who's like, oh my gosh, I'd really like to do a solo show, or I'd really like to do a Fringe show, but I'm really scared. Like, what kind of advice would you give to that person?
Talk to other people who have been in connect with other people who have been in Fringe. And that doesn't necessarily mean to go and like talk to them and be like, hey, I want to pitch you my idea and give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, but ask people about their experiences, what it's been like, how they've managed it, what they had to do to prepare for it, and what they've even done after it. Because I think for me, like you had to it felt like you had to check a certain amount of boxes before you could, identify as someone who's capable of doing Fringe.
Mm.
And from working again with Charlene and Tom on the Bond show, it it helped me to understand just how much you can just bring your own and yourself to what you're doing in it. The only boxes you have to check are the ones that you set for yourself in it. And that's where Tom's been able to keep moving the Bond show. Charlene had a brilliant production, Your Best American Girl, and I know that she's had intentions for keeping that work going. And that's where it all started to click for me in realizing, like, well, I know what my idea would be. I know I wrote the material. I know if it's a one person show, like I'm the one who's going to have to perform it. And I know I can do that. And so that kind of demystified it. And I started to understand that it's like, okay, I can mount this. Okay, I'm going to have to just make sure I'm clear on what I want to do, make sure I have a little extra help. I have one of my best friends in the world, Samantha Goldstein, who graciously agreed to be my director, and she's super brilliant and has been able to help me keep myself sane through this. Um, yes, I had to make sure that I had like my money in order because capitalism, it's a thing. Um, and yet, I've also been able to keep things as constrained as I want to. And, it's like if I don't need to go over the top and have, this and that, like, no, I don't need it. If I want to have something, yeah, I can choose it. So I think that communicating with other fringers helps someone who's not been in on it understand how accessible it actually is.
Mm. I like that. Yeah. And that's, I think that's one of my favorite parts of Fringe too, which is why I do these interviews, is it's just really cool to talk to people and see, what kinds of things they're doing. Because I mean, I don't know that I would have thought to like combine all of the different elements that you're talking about into one show. So I think this is going to be really interesting.
I really hope people will be able to enjoy it. I think it will make impressions upon people, and so I just hope those are mostly positive impressions. Um, and I mean, yeah, I definitely, in a lot of ways, I almost feel like I'm slightly a fish out of water with all of this because it's like if you asked me 5 years ago, would I be trying to do a one man show with all of these components? I'd say absolutely not. Um, 5 years ago, I would staunchly have said, I'll sign up to do a show and it's going to be me and my piano, and that's it. I'm not putting on costumes. I'm not doing any of these extra ID. Like I'd be solely in that frame of mind. Um, and yet, here I am, just making sure I've got the video cues right. I've got a whole kind of like lift my this up a little bit, like sneak preview. There's a rack of costumes behind that plant there that I've just got all these outfits that I'm gonna try
Oh
and
my
work into
God.
this 45-minute. Like I don't know. I still keep questioning what am I doing. I mean, I'm having fun, so that's a good thing. But and now I've messed up my camera. There we go. Yeah, it's definitely different from where I saw myself going. And at the same time, I mean, I think that might be the same theme we can all say over the last couple of years, that where we are now may not exactly be where we saw ourselves going, and that's okay. That's what's important to acknowledge. That's where I'm excited to get to reflect a bit, even in this show. Continue my therapy, hopefully help others.
There you go. That's what we're all here for, right? That our stuff may be helpful to others, right?
That's the goal. Yeah, that's all we want.
Exactly. Outstanding. Well, okay, so I'm gonna remind everybody your social media. It's at Will BJ Rob, right?
Yes,
And you're on
yes,
all the things at Will BJ Rob. And then the title of
yes,
your show, The Panda Musical Diaries.
yes.
And I'll make sure there's links to where everybody can get tickets and all that good stuff. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This was super fun.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm hoping that we can find a time where I can return the favor for you and do an interview on you. And yes, no, maybe so. I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to it. And looking forward to getting to meet you in person.
Woohoo! Yes, because things are in person now. Haha.
Yes.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye.